Hi there. SUI is up by about 6.5% today, and for the entire week is up by about 5%. So let's take a look and see what the whales are doing with it and where it's potentially heading to. If you're new to my sessions, I'll cover the Wyckoff stage, trend change potential, as well as key price levels. These are education content only, not financial advice. The weekly chart of SUI is showing us that it is going through a second test, or you can simply say one of the tests during the bigger accumulation cycle. So all these orange tags are basically part of the accumulation. Sometimes the accumulation can end very quickly. Sometimes it can last for over a year or even 2 to 3 years. It all depends on what kind of factors are shadowing or ghosting a particular project. So here, what we can see is that the bulls and the bears are kind of agreeing that somewhere near this purple key level of 0.99 is the near-term bottom. Okay, just near-term. If no bad news come out, that is. All right, there is a series of economic data from the US is going to be released in the next week. Well, not just next week, but all the way to early March. So it is very critical whether these news are going to imply additional liquidity and clarity or stability is going to come out. Whichever is going to move people into risk-on mode, indicating liquidity is going to come in, is going to push the price up. But, it can be sold another way, like you always see in the news, okay? Even if a piece of news is neutral, it can be spun to one side or the other. So be very careful while we are hoping to see the proof of people getting back to the risk-on mode by showing us a sign of strength, meaning the price continue to come up to challenge at least the light blue key level of 1.82, that's above the 1.93 blue key level. All right, that's what we need to see in order to confirm that people are willing to come back. But that doesn't mean the test period is over. Even after the sign of strength, the whales can still smash the price back to the lower levels in order to shake out people for a few more rounds before they actually let the price shoot to the moon. Okay, but that kind of run, whether they last for 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months, it all depends on what kind of news are lining up. All right, if good news are lining up all the way, then the potential of the whales going to let the price to go, to shoot up will be higher. But if there are only like 50-50, then the range bound potential is higher. The other way, the pessimistic view is that, maybe rate staying higher for longer and liquidity staying tighter for longer, then, the lower side of the chart is where the price would retest. Okay, you can see the price can test lower levels even after the previous short-term bottom. Okay, that's the big picture analysis. Now let's get to the daily. We are seeing a potentially breakout confirmation that's happening right now. Yesterday, the price closed at around the ceiling of the downtrend. Okay, if you look at the wick over here, last time it went out a little as well, just to come back to close lower. Yesterday, it was slightly positive. The only thing I would criticize or be cautious about is the volume. These white volume bars aren't really tall compared to the red ones. Okay, so this, while I hope that it's going to stay above the purple key level of 0.99, there is still a risk for that to return to challenge the blue key level of 0.88. Okay, so the remaining 5.5 hours today and what happens tomorrow is going to be key. If people are front-running the economic data, expecting the price of risky assets to go up, it can run only to the point the news are released. And when the truth comes in, when the truth hits, that's when the price is going to decide its next direction. Okay? So we've talked about, somewhere between the 12th and 15th, there's a window. Okay? And the confirmation seems to be coming in right before the 15th. But as I said, let's hope this is not a fake bull and it continues with higher volume. That's what we need to confirm a sign of strength, like I mentioned before. People are willing to come back to the risk-on mode. So look at what happened back in 2024 August. This run up over here with significant higher volume than the previous weeks. And then eventually there was some pullback, up, down, and then continue up. Okay? It's not the end of the test, but at least it's getting to the midpoint or even the later part of the accumulation if the environment is continuing to improve. We're not talking about those ice age periods that last for 2-3 years. If that's the case, that means the geopolitical and economic environment is going to suffer for the next 2 years. Would the leaders around the world let that happen to last for 2 years? Or is the black swan that's hiding behind somewhere so big that it is going to negate whatever the Fed or whatever central banks are going to do? Okay, that's a very long explanation about this early stage of accumulation SUI is getting right now. And if you're interested in getting access to these sessions 2 days earlier than the others, join the channel membership now. Here's another video for you. Thank you.